Welcome to the Awareness Angle, simplifying cybersecurity awareness. This is the podcast that brings you the latest cybersecurity news from the past week and gives you the security awareness angle on it. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Luke. Hello, Luke.
Hey, Anthony.
How you doing?
Yeah, doing well, thanks. You?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Lots to get through this week. Not as much as last week, but we've got some bits to get through this week, which is good.
Yeah, shorter episode.
Yes, maybe. We haven't got there yet. You never know. We might get into the weeds a bit. But before we get started, all views and opinions expressed by Luke and myself are our own opinions and do not reflect those of the companies that employ us. Better get that out of the way. And don't forget, alongside the podcast, we have the newsletter as well. Released every Monday morning, the newsletter lands in your inbox or in your LinkedIn in tray every Monday. It gives you an overview of everything that's discussed in every episode. You can subscribe to the newsletter at riskycreative.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn and find it there. Right, news. This week's news. Luke, do you want to, the first story is yours.
Yeah. So, first story is, carries on a bit from the last episode, I think, where we've talked about AI and the ChatGPT and DeepSeek and whatever else, and employees using it without permission and entering confidential stuff in there. But so this is a story about how they found 12,000 API keys and passwords in the training data sets that have trained OpenAI, ChatGPT, well, potentially ChatGPT, Gemini, and other models, like other large language models. And the reason that these have sort of fallen into this training data is from the Common Crawl data set, which I didn't know about until today.
Right.
So that's a organization that crawls the web, publicly accessible information. They've been doing it since 2008. So
Right.
Obviously all this raw web data, all these, GitHub repositories or something, and
Anything that's publicly accessible on the web, on the internet.
yeah. So
Yeah.
from this, they found all of these API keys and passwords within it, and they seem to be AWS keys and MailChimp API keys have been found. So it's quite a concerning thing, but hopefully some of these aren't live anymore, but you never know. I think something in this article says about 17 live Slack webhooks were found as well, so that there are some potentially live stuff out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we reckon they got there because people are oversharing.
Well, I guess that's the other thing, right? Yeah, is if people are using the public ChatGPT and they're putting confidential data in there, and this obviously these models learn on it, and you're just exposing all of these things into the large pool of information that it has. But yeah.
So, straight away, there's so much data there. I mean, 12,000 valid API keys and passwords.
Mm.
That's an insane amount. So this, I suppose, the people that handle this kind of information are likely putting it in the wrong place. I mean, we hear incident after incident where, stuff's been uploaded when it shouldn't have, or overshared or permissioned incorrectly. And this is a lovely reminder that all of that gets scooped up by a crawler and then given to things like ChatGPT and other tools to train on. It's like, wow, if it's out there, it's hard to delete stuff once it's out there. Like we often say that, don't we, about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That's like your number one warning to your kids, isn't it? Once it's out there, you can't always delete it. So, yeah.
So the next story is completely different topic, really.
Right.
Obviously, X suffered a fair few outages. I think there was multiple outages recently.
Yeah.
This this week, I think. Yeah.
I think they had like three in a day or 4 in a day, I think, happened. Like, I think they'd had a bit of any website's under attack at any time, right? Like, web DDoS happens here, there, and everywhere. Like, it's not unusual for a site to be DDoSed, but to take X offline.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people obviously can access it, and that may be their favorite platform. But so yeah, this was claimed by Darkstorm team,
right?
Founded in 2023.
I saw it was claimed by Anonymous, but I didn't think Anonymous existed anymore. But maybe that was just, or like it was the work of one person and they were claiming to be anonymous. But Darkstorm have actually claimed it, have they?
I believe they have. So they're founded in 2023. They're politically motivated, but they're also hackers for hire. And I think there was mention that I think Elon Musk claimed that these IPs originated from Ukraine, but obviously VPNs are available, and I'm sure they can spoof it with the way the world is right now.
I could make it look like I'm in the Ukraine right now very easily.
Yeah.
But like, that doesn't mean I actually am.
Yeah, I think there's obviously it's a whole political thing there, and with the whole Starlink being removed from Ukraine and stuff, people, I guess it's all, who knows what the truth is with this. But
if you lurk into the darker corners of Reddit, I did read things about Elon Musk is using this as an excuse to turn off Starlink in Ukraine or stop supplying Starlink to the Ukraine. Like, it's, but let's not get political on this show, I suppose.
But yeah, so I mean, this Darkstorm team are typically, they target hospitals, airports, and government sites, but obviously they've gone for X recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a DDoS attack. And I guess, they really just did it to cause some outrage and upset, really. I don't think there's much on that area.
It's interesting, like, companies have DDoS protection, but there is, sometimes if it's so big, then it's hard to protect against. And I do wonder, like, not understanding X, formerly known as Twitter's tech setup now, but I do wonder if maybe some of the corners they've cut is in things like that, because if they're stripping stuff out, reducing staff, reducing workers, then maybe you're going, oh, why are we paying this much for DDoS protection? Let's get that down. Let's reduce the subscription, or let's get rid of it completely.
Yeah.
And maybe this isn't a great cookie cutter mold to use for the other businesses that he may influence. Maybe this should set alarm bells ringing at places that are going through a similar experience. Maybe there's certain things you shouldn't cut corners on.
So I think especially if you're a big public facing entity, you definitely want to be able to protect yourselves against those kind of things, especially if it's going to impact your money and profits. And
you see, if you have DDoS protection, and I think you could use this across many different security tools. If you have something like let's take DDoS protection for an example, right? We haven't been DDoSed, we haven't gone down. Maybe we don't need it, or maybe we don't need to pay as much for it because we haven't been DDoSed. And like, when these tools, and this kind of goes to the fact we need to show value. And this isn't just for us as awareness people or security people, but vendors as well need to help us show value. How has this worked for me? And then we have to go, what value is this service providing? Because everybody's looking at their budgets at the moment. And if something's quite pricey, you need to justify why it costs so much. So I know with DDoS, like I've heard, I can't remember the figures, but I've heard like this tool helped prevented this size attack from, I think it wasn't that long ago, a few weeks ago, one of the DDoS prevention tools prevented the largest attack they'd ever seen or something. And it was recent, I think. 2024, Cloudflare mitigated the largest DDoS attack ever, which reached 5.6 terabits per second. It lasted about 80 seconds. So the Cloudflare automatically mitigated the attack and all other attacks. Google mitigated 390 million RPS attack in October 23. So yeah, there's been some big ones, but and if for people out there, we probably should have started this. If you don't know what a DDoS attack is, it stands for distributed denial of service, and it's essentially where normally a botnet, which is a load of compromised devices or a load of devices, basically a load of internet connected devices, go to the same destination at the same time and overwhelm it. It's like a flood, basically, of requests coming in, and it just causes the pipe to overflow. The stuff can't flow because it's too much going through the pipe, essentially. If I've got that wrong, someone tell me I've got that wrong. But
Sounds about right.
yeah. So it's there's not really much you can do. Like the awareness angle, there isn't really an awareness angle on that, other than to be aware, I suppose.
Yeah, if you don't have the systems in place, but maybe look at some monitoring of some kind, and there might be teams like developer teams, IT teams out there that probably monitor their own stuff and making sure they know how to let you know that they're experiencing a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. I think what is important is if you are getting DDoSed, so somewhere I worked previously got DDoSed and they couldn't access the information they needed to access because they didn't have any internet access. So like with stuff being in the cloud, they were like, I can't access that because it's in Google Drive. And it's like, okay. So because the pipe was blocked in and out or something. So it was like, we needed to spin up a hotspot to get them connected so they could bypass to get out. And it was like, right, okay. And that was like where the passwords were stored or something like that. So have a backup plan in case you get DDoSed, I think is the important thing. Right. I had a news story. So I saw a post on LinkedIn this week, and that's how most of my stories start, from Flavius from Outthink. He's the founder and CEO there. And he was referring to an article in Hacker News. And Flavius writes that almost 90% of enterprise Gen AI usage by employees is invisible to the companies they work for. And this is according to a report from Layer X Security. And Flavius says, with the rate of AI development and change, adoption will continue to increase. More concerningly, the report also finds that Gen AI users paste corporate data into AI tools on average 4 times a day. Very similar to what we spoke about last time. This underscores a critical message for CISOs: the urgent need to implement a robust AI security strategy. Waiting for a data breach isn't an option. It's essential to be proactive. Now, I would actually argue that data breaches are already happening all the time because you've got users uploading data. Like we said last week, payroll data, employee data, contracts, insurance documents are going up there. So it's almost like, I don't know what's happening here, because it's almost now really, really hard to quantify a data breach. Like, we almost need to accept that it's always happening. Like, we've got holes in the boat. We've just got a really big bucket so we don't sink. It's kind of feels a bit like that. I don't know.
It's quite a big stat. Yes. Almost 90%. Yeah. Well.
So, the report does also say that the use of Gen AI in the enterprise space is casual at most for now. So they reckon about, and this actually, like, everybody in our space is talking about AI, and have been for like 2 years, 3 years maybe. But this report says that approximately 15% of users access Gen AI tools on a daily basis. So not the majority of people, but a significant amount.
Yeah.
But this is going to increase. 50% of current users use Gen AI every other week. So they say that 39% of regular Gen AI tool users are software developers. So that's an interesting one. It's weird. This week I heard the phrase BYO AI, which is an interesting one, and I don't quite know how that works. It's every conference and every summit and every place you go to this year will be talking about AI. Like, it doesn't matter if it's awareness or CISO or e-crime, everything. There's the large bulk of talks are going to be about AI. Some of it will be about how we can use AI to make things better, but a lot of it will be around risk. And the problem is, it is essentially like catching worms in a net. Like, stuff's leaking through. People are using new tools all the time. One we spoke about previously, and this is one both of us have encountered. Firefly's AI, for example, is a transcription tool. Firefly's as a distribution model is awesome, right? Whoever worked out how to distribute that product deserves an award, because if I invited Fireflies to a Google Meet that you and I are on, you would then get an invite to the meeting notes. But to get to the meeting notes, you have to create an account.
Right.
And then if there's 10 people on that meeting and I have introduced it, I only had an account previously, but then all the other 9 people get an invite to create an account on Fireflies, which is really easy. And then you can use that transcription tool and can get the meeting notes. And to do that, you have to give it access to certain things within your account as well. So it's actually like every time you invite someone to a meeting, they're getting an invite to Fireflies.
Yeah.
It's a great distribution model. It's a terrifying distribution model for a business that doesn't want shadow AI in their business.
Yeah, no.
So
you can understand if you're in a lot of meetings and stuff and you see an AI that can just transcribe it all for you. But there's stuff built into Meet, and Zoom probably has some stuff in it. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think we need to have some really honest conversations I think this is where we need like hyper engagement, and we need some really honest conversations with our people to explain the risks. But also, we can't be overzealous. Like, we kind of need to maybe just the data we have, maybe we have to really consider the categorization of the data we have. Like, is this really sensitive? If so, we can't assume those people are going to handle it correctly just because they work in that team. Because people slack, people change, teams change, training is annual. It's also not engaging. This is where we as educators and communicators, this is where we need to up our game, I think, and change things. Fresh approach. I don't know why. I don't know where.
Targeting your high risk users and those that have access to the most sensitive data is probably a good way to start, especially with the whole AI and all these new tools.
Get out of thinking it's just tech people as well. Like, it's everyone across your business could be using something to make their lives easier, because it has. And it's not just ChatGPT. Last month it was DeepSeek. There was another one I heard of today that is like bubbling up. There will always be another tool that's added AI features. So, God, I'm tired of talking about AI. But there we go. Yeah, I know. This is not an AI podcast. This is an awareness podcast. The next story I had was Tata Technologies have had some data leaked by a ransomware gang.
Right.
730,000 documents, including Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, and PDF files, totaling about 1.4 terabytes of data.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine in your organization if 730,000 Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, and PDF files? you don't often hear of data breaches breaking it down in that way. Like they'll tell you, 1.4 terabytes of data. But when you actually look through it with that lens and think about the information that amount of Excel sheets, PowerPoint presentations, PDFs could have in them, that's really scary. So in late January, Tata informed the Indian Stock Exchange about a ransomware attack that affected a few of the company's IT assets. And at the time, they said that the services remain fully functional and unaffected throughout. But Hunters International Ransomware Group it's unclear whether the data uploaded by that group is related to the ransomware attack that Tata disclosed. Tata have not yet provided comment.
I'm not surprised.
No. If you don't know who Tata are, or Tata Technologies, founded in 1989 as an automotive unit of Tata Motors, Tata Technologies spun off as a separate company in 94 and has been a subsidiary of Tata Group since. Product engineering, research, development services to the automotive aerospace equipment makers across 27 countries, 12,500 employees. So, yeah, it's huge. So,
yeah.
It's a lovely story. I don't know how the ransomware attack happened. No data is available on that. We'll keep you posted if we find out. But that's it's an interest, like perspectives. Just the usual advice, right? Phishing emails, number one attack vector. Vishing, all kinds of things. But frame this, if you're going to tell your people about this, ask them to imagine what 730,000 documents leaking could look like.
Yeah, a huge number.
Yes. My last news item for today was an update on Apple. Like we said, It wouldn't go anywhere. We thought it was done, then it came back. So we're recording this on Thursday, 13th of March. Tomorrow, Friday, there will be a secret hearing. So Apple's appeal against the UK government demand to access its customers' encrypted data is set to be considered at a secret hearing at the High Court on Friday. So the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, which is an independent court. Yes, it's the government says it needs to be able to see if there's a national security risk in the data. But I don't know how common it is for a private hearing like this to be held. But it's being held in private because it relates to the security services. So because there's a national security interest, that's why it's being held behind closed doors. But obviously privacy campaigners say, no, the public has a right to hear this. We want to hear what's going on. Caroline Wilson-Pallo, who's a legal director at Privacy International, says this hearing should not be held in secret. The public has a right to know whether or not the security of a service that could be used by millions or perhaps billions of people worldwide is being undermined. It does feel, if like, of all the things the UK government have got to deal with at the moment, maybe this is important. Maybe they've got some real concerns around like Ukraine and Russia and everything. But it feels like we're really trying to set a precedent here in the UK, and I'm not sure I like it. This isn't what we're normally like, I don't think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting whether we find out what comes of this or not.
Apple said it regretted the action it felt it had been forced to take. They said enhancing the security of cloud storage with end-to-end encryption is more urgent than ever before. Apple remains committed to offering our users the highest level of security for their personal data and are hopeful that we will be able to do so in future to the UK. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll keep you updated with what happens tomorrow on that. If you're listening to this on Monday, you probably already know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's an interesting one. Right. Awareness. So a couple of items to go through for the awareness notice board this week. If you are in the UK and you're in London next week, there are 2 events that you might be interested in going to. One you can't because registration's closed. So Impact, which is the CyberSafe Awareness Behavioural in-person only event. I believe registration for the UK event is closed, but there is an event in the US which you still might be able to get in if you are in the US or you want to fly over. I haven't been before. Apparently it's really good. It's the science behind the things people do. It's the science behind the awareness, behavioural science. So that's Impact. Another one I found out about today, which is on the same day, is CNI Cybersecurity Summit, which is a Bridewell summit, collaborating against critical threats, securing the future of UK critical national infrastructure. So that is on in Convene in Houndsditch, and that's Thursday. So if you are in the area and you want to go to that, if you work in critical national infrastructure, there's some good speakers. It should be a good event. So yeah, all the agenda is there. We'll put that in the newsletter as well.
Be interesting if anyone listening is going, they can maybe reach out with their takeaways from these events.
It'd be great to know, because like Impact and the CNI one are 2 that I've never been to, and I would go to one of them. But there's a 3rd event on Thursday that I'm going to, because I'm going to a training course Tuesday and Wednesday. And then with the training course, you get tickets to go to this other event, which is actually a marketing event, which is interesting. It'll be interesting. I'll have some interesting tales for you next week, because I'm actually going on a marketing course this week. And it's going to be interesting to see what we can learn from that to bring to the world of awareness. I'm going there with an awareness mindset, with how can we market secure behaviours. So it's going to be really interesting. It's a really small, intimate event. I'm really looking forward to it. It's hosted by an amazing podcaster and guy it's going to be really engaging. Got the book, and the book is obviously fairly unique. So Stand the Out by Louis Grenier, who's an amazing Frenchman. So I'll be able to tell you all about that next week, and how it relates to what we do. The book already relates to what we do, but then on the shelf behind me, there's a number of sales and marketing books, because essentially I've always said we're selling and marketing secure behaviours. So,
no, it's exciting. Look forward to the next episode to hear about it.
Yeah, it should be good. I hope it's good. Should be good. Right. The next item was the CrowdStrike report. So CrowdStrike have released their 2025 Global Threat Report. And this is always an interesting report, and it's not always strictly all awareness. We know what CrowdStrike do, and we know they love giving names to some amazing attack groups and create models of them. I've got one here. I've showed it before. But one of the key stats in this, which I thought was worth mentioning, was voice phishing attacks. So the CrowdStrike report says that voice phishing or phishing attacks, where adversaries call victims to amplify their activities with persuasive social engineering techniques, saw explosive growth, up 442% between the first and second half of 2024.
Wow.
442% increase. And the only reason that's increasing is because it's working. Otherwise, but all that's worked, I'm going to do more.
Yeah, no, I guess maybe AI as well. If that's including a deep fake voice.
It could be. Yeah, completely. Yeah. And you can see here, Gen AI played a pivotal role in sophisticated cyber attack campaigns. It's enabled famous Chalima to create a highly convincing fake IT job candidate that infiltrated victim organizations and helped China, Russia, and Iran affiliated threat actors conduct AI-driven disinformation. So there's your AI on board as well. There's there's some really interesting, there's a whole section on social engineering here and around the phishing trends. We can see it's towards the end of 2024. Boom. They're just like going big style.
Crazy.
And this is stuff, this is stuff that CrowdStrike's detected, right? That's where the data comes from. So for CrowdStrike Overwatch teams and the next gen MDR tool is where this data's coming from. And again, there's like, they love giving names to all these attack adversaries. And I know some people really don't like that, like don't glorify them, but they've got one called Curly Spider. Like Curly Spider. It's, and Chatty Spider as well. And Plump Spider. So, Plump Spider's not very PC. Like he's just, like this, maybe it's his genes, like as with me. There we go. But yeah, it's interesting. It's lovely visuals on this as well. And there's probably some stuff. Help desk social engineering is one I know that many of us will have seen from time to time. It's quite common. I need to reset a password. I've lost my MFA, that kind of thing. So we'll put a link to the report in the show notes. Lots to take through in the report. If there's something you're not clear of in the report and you want us to dive into it a bit deeper, let us know. Get in touch with us on social media or on LinkedIn, or drop us an email over hello@riskycreative.com, or you can get either of us, Luke@riskycreative.com or me, Ant@riskycreative.com.
Cool, yeah.
That is the awareness. I have a topic, so I'll do my topic and then we'll let you do your topic. Now, this topic, I'm going to show you this. This was something I think is going to be big this year, because I've already heard plenty of conversations around it, is about securing the home. So it's about our personal lives. And if we can encourage users to get good behaviors at home, then they'll bring those into work. The next item I want to talk to you about tonight is something I saw on Facebook. So I don't Facebook much, and normally I only go on there when I'm doom scrolling, but this came up on my newsfeed and I don't know this person, but I want to show this to you because I think this is a scam, right? This screams scam. But let's look at it together, okay? So this 4th of March, so this has been live at the time we're recording this has been live for 9 days. And it's a post from someone called Emma Fletcher. Emma, if you exist and this is genuine, I'm sorry for calling you out, okay? But I'll explain my reasons. My husband works at Decathlon and recently shared some great news with me. If you fill out a short form, link backpack-promo.com/gb-decathlon.sale, you can get a North Face backpack for just £3. Decathlon's contract with the North Face is expiring, so all remaining items must be sold by the end of the month. This is truly a great offer. I have already received my backpack and honestly, it's super stylish and practical. Heart eyes emoji. Here is the link to fill out the form and secure your backpack. And we see a picture of a lovely North Face backpack with a receipt from Decathlon. Doesn't actually say the store name or store address.
It looks
but
completely photoshopped from this tiny view I have.
So there we go. Luke's immediate thing is that it looks photoshopped. So let's just look before we go any further, because I do have some further. This is an £80. John Lewis, £115. Black's £85. So this is it's not a cheap backpack, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about like a £80 reduction in price, which is pretty good. So first of all, we'll scroll down. There's 371 comments on this post. Mm-hmm. Oh, and loads of them are from different people with photos of the backpack in different colours. They're not all the same backpack, but they are. No, they are. I thought for £3 I'd get some knockoff, but this bag is actually great. The stitching is neat and the zippers slide smooth. The only downside is there's no extra compartments inside. But for this price, I'm not complaining. You just complained. Mm-hmm. The only downside is there's no extra. That's a complaint. Anyway, somehow this isn't a joke. I ordered just out of curiosity because £3 for a backpack sounds like a scam. But here it is. And it even smells brand new. The delivery took a bit longer than expected, but considering it's practically free, fair enough. It arrived in perfect condition. The material is actually thick. I thought it would be flimsy, but no. I thought this was some kind of scam too, but nope, it's here. Minimalist design, lightweight, doesn't look cheap. You'd never guess it costs the same as a cup of coffee.
What cup of coffee are they buying for £3?
Wow. It's so there's I don't know what Facebook is doing because it says there's 371 comments, but I can't view them all. It kind of caps out. But so next step, okay, let's take this URL. Let's get our little investigator's hat on and let's venture to the URL. Now, what I'm doing, I'm actually in an incognito window now. Mm-hmm. Now, the URL, it is not, the URL of this browser window is not the URL that it was meant to take me to. So the URL is actually, we'll display it on the screen, futex.info, futex.info. So that straight away is a bit of a red flag that the URL has changed, I think. And the site, it doesn't look like a proper, this doesn't look like Decathlon's website, really, does it? I mean,
got a nice shiny start survey button.
Calling me in. Yeah. The survey expires today. There's the attention in bright red letters. Today's date. I'm sure when I looked at this 2 days ago, it said up here, the user icon and the basket are not clickable. And there's yet more Facebook comments. Has anyone received a prize? Yes, a manager contacted me early today, checked the data and said that delivery. So a manager's actually calling you. I have never written comments, but here I decided to share them. How it was. I go to the site, answer the questions, and the opportunity to participate appears. I thought it was some kind of scam. Read all the reviews, submit details and wait. After 6 days, a girl contacted. I confirmed the veracity of my information. Date. And said, congratulations, you won a North Face. Our courier will deliver within 7 days. You cannot imagine how I was surprised when I received my prize on the second day. In general, don't be afraid. Try. Fate has smiled on me. And Decathlon Support replied and said, thank you for your comment. It's very important to us. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So these comments are actually not interactive. This is actually like just raw HTML. So all these likes and hearts are just hard coded into the site.
Yeah.
Can I write a comment? I can write a comment. So, but that will probably not be there for the next person. I can't use the emoji or photo images. I'm going to click Start Survey now. How did you find this promotion for the North Face Borealis backpack? So let's choose social media. What is most important to you when choosing a backpack? Quality and durability, comfort and fit, design and style. I'm going to say price because I'm squeaky. How often do you purchase backpacks? Who purchases backpacks several times a year? Once a year. What factors influence your buying decision? Positive reviews. How would you rate your shopping experience with Decathlon? Oh, I'm sure the amount of questions is going up. No, that's right. Okay. They're recording my answers to the survey. Checking for duplicate IP addresses. I've been verified. Checking their inventory for products. They're available for stock. Congratulations. Thank you for taking. There we go.
Pick your colour.
So now I can choose. Yeah. Now I can choose my colour. I'm going to go for the leopard print one. Enter your delivery address and confirm participation. Your special price will be available for the next 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I've only got 2 minutes to fill this in. But now it says 9 minutes. So listen, let's put some fake details in. I realise we've gone down a right rabbit hole, but let's put some... why is that in red? That is an email address. I've got a space in there. Bob, last name Bobby, address Bobsville, zip code 90210, Beverly Hills, Bob, and my number is... there we go. It's a fake phone number. Continue. Credit card details. There we go. So look, guys, I'm not going to go any further because I don't want to put any credit card details in. But look, if you see something like this, what are the flags on this, right? It's too good to be true. It's why would Decathlon... So not only visually have there been so many red flags on this, like the style of the site has changed 3 times, the wording, the commentary, the lack of like official looking site. But if we go right back to the very beginning, why would Decathlon be giving away £100 backpacks for £3 online through some dodgy site? They just wouldn't. So I'm going to report this on Facebook. I probably should have done it yesterday when I saw it. In all fairness, Facebook will leave it up there because they do, because Facebook are awful. I don't share this content on Facebook, so we're probably all right there. They will send me a notification to tell me whether or not my report has been... they'll tell me what the decision is. So this will be an interesting one. We'll send you a notification to view the outcome in your support inbox as soon as possible. So let's see whether Facebook actually do remove this post. If I look at Emma Fletcher's profile, can I see her profile? I don't know. Let's have a look. I can't. Okay. Guys, Facebook is full of scams like this. It's really important that you tell your people not to fall for it. This feels too good to be true. It is too good to be true. It is a scam. Poor Emma Fletcher's account has probably been compromised. She's probably had her Facebook account taken over and it's being used and abused. I had this week on Instagram. Someone that I haven't spoken to in years but still followed on Instagram popped up on Instagram Reels telling me they just bought a brand new Mercedes through the earnings they'd earned in a week on crypto. And it's just unbelievable. So
I'm just going to quickly add to this story. I've just pasted in the a URL you can click on and screenshot if you want, but where you can upload an image to a website called Photo Forensics, and it shows you, it can indicate whether something's been manipulated, and I think you can clearly see this image, basically the different contrasts, and obviously those large chunks of grey where like the compression levels and stuff are different. So
right,
that whole receipt's probably completely been manipulated, which makes sense considering it looks dodgy anyway. But,
so these big white square block chunks is where stuff's been dropped on or pasted on.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really, really useful. Yeah. So we can see like elements of this. Yeah, that's really, really useful. We can see what's been manipulated and what hasn't. Yeah.
Probably as well. You can, something else, isn't it? Like reverse image search. You probably find that image on Google somewhere. Like the other backpacks and stuff that people have been, all those fake comments. It's quite an elaborate scam though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But,
yeah. No, it's it amazes me the effort people put in to some of these scams that we see. And we've seen this before with like the amount of steps they go through. And it must be that, I wonder if there's like some real behavioural science behind, from a scammer's perspective on this. Like, oh, by the time we get to the credit card, there must be like, by the time they get to the credit card page, most people are going to put their details in because they're so far along on the sales journey.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably like in retail when like, oh, their basket is this full. They're going to buy now because they're not browsing anymore. You know, they're committed. So I wonder if there is like you get more success if it's more involved. It's it's scary. Right, you had a story to tell, I think.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I don't know. You can put them both up the TikTok videos. We don't have to watch them all the way through, but the first one was a fairly interesting public service announcement, I guess. I haven't confirmed whether this is actually true or happening in terms of what it's about, but if you play that, I think the first few seconds is enough to get the gist of it.
Okay, let me play this.
Your phones and laptops and tablets at the border, at the airports.
I just missed the beginning on that. TikTok.
Immigration is checking your phones and laptops and tablets at the border, at the airports when you come in from an international flight. Sometimes they just take your phone and start looking through it. Sometimes they put some external equipment with some fancy cords and download stuff off your phone. What an obvious invasion of privacy. But if you're a visa holder and refuse, you may not be allowed into the United States. And unfortunately, your rights are limited at the border simply because you haven't entered the United States and the U.S. Constitution only applies in the United States.
That's so... that last line is like, you haven't actually entered the country, so the rights don't apply yet. You're in like... That reminds me, there was a film called The Terminal. It was a Tom Hanks film, Steven Spielberg, where a guy landed and while he was in the air, his country ceased to exist. So he couldn't, he was stuck in the airport because he technically didn't come from anywhere. So it was like he was in like no country mode. And that's essentially what they're saying.
Yeah.
So this I'm guessing this is quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, there's other countries, right, that probably do this all the time, but the fact that I don't know how true it is yet, but supposedly the US are doing it now, which, I think it's something to be wary of if you're traveling there. Obviously, you can take a phone or device that you don't really care about as such. You sort of set it up in a way to, if it gets taken or something gets downloaded off it, you're not losing a lot of stuff. But if you're going for like business or something, maybe that's a concern, and you can't really do that. Can't always do that.
So I've just found a page, and this probably is. I don't know if this is the same everywhere. This like current kind of sentiment around the world is that like things are changing in America because of the political climate and stuff. But I have just found this on the border search this is on US Customs and Border Protection site. All travellers crossing the United States border are subject to CBP Customs and Border Protection inspection. On rare occasions, CBP officers may search a traveller's mobile phone, computer, camera, or other electronic devices during the inspection process. These searches have been used to identify and combat terrorist activity, child pornography, cash smuggling, human trafficking, intellectual property rights violations, and visa fraud. Border searches of electronic devices are often integral to determining an individual's intentions upon entry to the United States. Yeah.
I mean, it obviously happens currently for those reasons, for sure. I guess maybe it was just a bit of scaremongering, perhaps, but maybe they're increasing in doing that.
Well, it is interesting. It'd be interesting to see if this figure's increasing, right? Because less than 0.01% of travellers have encountered that. But I know he goes on in the video to say about them potentially confiscating a device, and he actually gives some advice about if you do this, get the name of the border protection officer that you're dealing with, and that they're meant to return your device in a certain amount of time. So there's some good advice in the video should you be impacted. And the world's changing fast, right, currently. And if the US does become more isolated, these searches might increase. You know, the UK and the US aren't the best of friends at the moment in some ways. You know, it's yes.
Yeah, I expect these things to probably increase in occurrence, especially for certain people and countries. But I think the other thing that was mentioned was don't use biometrics or temporarily disabled biometrics and use a passcode instead.
That was great advice in that video. Like, they can hold the device up to your face to get it unlocked, but you don't have to give them your password. Yeah, that was good advice. And I think it also suggests using a travel device, like get an older phone and travel with the older phone rather than the new phone, if you can, or something.
Yeah.
But the key takeaway was you don't have to give them the password, but they might refuse to entry or they might delay. You might end up waiting a while.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got nothing to hide, I guess you don't need to be too concerned, but
it might be something we need to give advice to international travelers, though, because, and I'm like, if you've got people traveling abroad on business and they're taking corporate laptops and corporate phones, it might be that someone doesn't like their passport or their country that their passport's from, or even the look of them, right? And I'm not saying particularly, it could be me, it could be you, it could be anyone, you know, like they might just not like the look of you. I haven't traveled much, right? So landing in an airport after a long flight, you might be nervous going through border patrol, and they might pick up on that. You know, it's it's educate your people on and have a company policy. Like, I'm not allowed to give my password out because the company says I'm not allowed to share my password. Maybe it needs to be like, if a law enforcement officer asks you for your password, you are allowed to give it, but here's what you do afterwards, or something like that, you know, or let us know so we can see what they did. Maybe that's what we need to think about.
Yeah, it brings up some interesting things to think about.
Boys, there's the more rocks you turn over, the more things there are to think about.
I had one more thing you can share as well. It's just a bit of a funny one to end on, and proof that Find My device can work. I won't spoil it, so we'll watch it a little bit first. It's the first bit, I think. But
do you know what?
Done.
I was going to say, if you haven't worked out by now, there's a bit of an age difference between Luke and I, because I'm sharing stuff I've seen on Facebook and Luke's sharing stuff he's seen on TikTok.
Yeah.
So there's quite clearly, I'm a Facebook generation and you're the TikTok generation. But there we go. Right, here we go. Travelled across the globe to find stolen AirPods.
My brother, he's even got the left one in. Unfortunately, brother, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're my AirPods. These are my AirPods. Look, I've been tracking you. I've tracked you all the way from England. I've flown from England because the left AirPod and the one that's in the case, look, the case and the right bud is in one, and then the left AirPod is in your ear.
Yeah.
They're mine.
You?
Yeah. Where did you find them?
Yeah.
No, where did you find the AirPods?
You?
They're my AirPods, yes.
Oh.
This is mine, brother.
Yo, speak Spanish, please.
Spanish? Okay. You are wearing and using my AirPods.
They're now using a phone to translate.
Estás usando mis AirPods.
Yeah. Look. Where's the box? The box.
Estos me los encontré. Yeah.
You see, listen. Yeah, that's me. I'm making that noise. Look. There we go.
So he's just used Find My AirPods on his phone.
Thank you. I found those. Yes, no problem. I lost them. Okay, good guy. What's your name? Tulamo.
My name?
Your name, yes.
Hector.
Hector. Nice to meet you, Hector. I have traveled 6,000 miles from the UK tracking these down. Really glad I found you. Oh, so unfortunately, Hector, I'm going to need that back. Yes! Find my iPhone does work. Are you a delivery driver?
Yeah.
I've been following you all night.
Yeah.
I even know where you live. I won't say your address here, but I've been at your house all day.
Estos me los encontré en Pacoima hace por aproximadamente un mes.
I found them in Pacoima about a month ago. Yes, that I was there a month ago.
It's okay.
Yes, he's a delivery driver. Well, Hector, thank you for your honesty, brother.
Thank you,
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, brother.
So yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
this guy who's there, his name's goes by that MASH tag, but he's an influencer, right? And he's got enough money to go, and it's what he does. So he goes around different countries and stuff. But obviously, he lost his AirPods in some country. This guy found them, and then he used his Find My device and traveled there to find them and managed to get them, which is quite incredible.
Do we know what country he was in?
In the video,
Yeah.
I think it's America, possibly.
Wow. That's like the Find My stuff is amazing. It doesn't. So I've got an iPhone and I've got a pair of iPods, and it does amaze me. Like if I leave them in the car and start walking towards the car, it like points me in the direction of where they are.
Yeah.
So it is really, really amazing. But to work globally like that, that's extreme. Like, just buy a new pair of. I mean, it's for the
content,
for the likes, right?
Get
it's for the content,
the likes and money from it. But, I thought it was very funny to share.
If we're ever at the point where we're chasing AirPods or like podcast mics or something around the world, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. Right. I think that's pretty much us done for this week.
Yeah.
I had some interesting conversations this week, but we'll talk about that next week. And just to give you a summary of everything we've talked about. So this week we've done API keys. So I think, tell your people not to put stuff in the cloud because it's often going to get scooped up. So that was quite an important one. We spoke about more Gen AI usage. So let's have some honest conversations around Gen AI. Ransomware, the Tata, 730,000 documents leaked. So that's a really good way to frame ransomware. What would that look like in your business? The Cybersecurity Summit, the Bridewell one, is on Thursday. Let us know if you go to any summits this week, how good they are, what they're like. And did you get a £3 backpack? Let us know if you are one of the people that got a £3 backpack. Don't believe what you see on Facebook. And if you lose your AirPods and have travelled 6,000 miles around the world, let us know. Right. Luke, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Don't forget, if you want to get all of this in the newsletter, you can subscribe at riskycreative.com or you can find me on LinkedIn. We're nearly at 500 subscribers, which is amazing. We do this for the podcast, but the newsletter is actually huge, right? So, if you are, if you share it, tell your friends, if you know someone that works in the awareness, we don't get a lot of feedback from you guys. So, if you're watching, if you're listening, we'd love to know where. If you subscribe to the newsletter, if there's something you want us to talk about or you want us to cover, let us know and we'll see what we can do. Let us know how we're doing. It would be awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right. Luke, have a good week and I will speak to you at the same time next week.
Catch you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.